Hello and welcome to my channel. Now in today's video I would like to discuss a very interesting angle in watch brands, and when one is researching watch brands, I'd sort of like to explain how I do this and how this is probably something that others also are doing, but I think that it is something that perhaps if you don't know about this, that you can also try it for yourself. But those interested in researching a particular watch brand, and this can be even more so true, I think, for Swiss watch brands than American brands. Now, with American brands, of course, these watches that were produced in the 19th century were extremely well documented. And it's even quite enviable from the Swiss point of view that a given serial number of a watch will be able to indicate the exact year, place, date of production, etc., how many of these items were produced in that lot, etc. So this is a large repository of information that watch collectors of American-made watches can rely on. Now, the question when one is looking for a Swiss watch and information about the particular brand, serial number, etc., this is much more difficult at this period in the 19th century. And it is up to the collector or the researcher to use all available means to identify the time period that we're speaking of when we find the watch, the serial number, etc. And so we basically in the research that I conduct, I leave no stone unturned. And frequently I find very fruitful research apart from the actual horological information, the actual competitions or expositions, these universal exhibitions that they conducted. Oftentimes these will include this precise serial number of watches, and these can be studied, and we have the dates of these competitions, etc. So we have a lot of these, and of course the observatory trials, etc. So, but there is additional information that can be gleaned from newspapers, and this is a very useful resource. Now, the Library of Congress has a lot of old newspaper articles online that can be easily obtained, and most of the developed world, and even, in fact, even the non-developed world, one can find repositories of online information for these old newspapers. And it is in these newspapers, the Mexican press, for example, or the US press, the Australian press, etc., one finds incidences where watches are reported stolen or lost. And this is generally accompanied with a serial number. So they will say the maker's name, and for example, an H1 tendon piece was missing, serial number, etc. And I can show, for example, this one such article, which we find here. I will include it. Now, this gives us an indication of the dating. Already we know that, okay, this may not be a new watch. This could be an old watch, but we sort of have a cutoff. This is very rudimentary information. This gives us a very approximate guess. However, we can have even much more useful information with regards to precise dating. And for example, I'd like to share one article which I have found, and this was from the New York Daily Tribune, and this was October 26th of 1864. Now, this was under Brooklyn Items is the title of this article, and I'll read it, and I will summarize, but a box of watch cases found floating in the Narrows. A wooden box about 1 foot square was washed on shore at Fort Hamilton yesterday. It was taken to the store of Mr. C.W. Church, where it was opened and found to contain a number of watch cases, which had been emptied of their valuable contents as it was supposed that the box might have some connection with the recent mysterious murder. It was transmitted to the coroner Norris, the coroner, who still retains possession. Several of the cases are of tortoise shell, lined with velvet and satin, with 2 compartments in each, one for the watch or works of a watch, and the other for the crystals. Some of the cases were made of wood covered with morocco, and others still of pasteboard, the latter having 6 compartments each. A number of crystals were found in one of the cases. These were small and very fine, such as are generally put in ladies' watches. Each case was marked and numbered in gilt letters on the inside of the lid as follows. And then they give all of the watch cases that are found here. So what we're dealing with is not the watch itself, but the box that the watch was contained in. And this is 1864, and this is a period where they're printing in large golden letters on the inside of the velvet lining of these boxes the serial number. And we have David J. Magnan of Geneva. They provide the serial numbers. It is very fortunate. There are James Courvoisier, Geneva. But we do have 3 boxes containing Montandon, Geneva. And this is serial number 64771, 64630, and 62773. Now, I will continue. So all of these, there are a lot of watches here, and all of the serial numbers are given for the various different watches that were contained. The wooden box containing the cases was marked in ink number 32-1, Couped Oval. It is supposed by persons familiar with the watch trade that the contents of the box amounted to several $1,000s. It is no doubt the result of a robbery or perhaps a customs house fraud. So this is very incredible information. This is giving us, these are all new watches. They were all new watches in the cases. And some sort of operation, either a fraudulent operation took place and these were discarded, or just an outright robbery, theft, possibly connected to a murder that was cited, which they believed is connected with this individual. So, but we have a precise date now, 1864, and we can liaise this date with these new watches. We have these serial numbers that were included here. It must be remembered in Swiss watches, the serial number doubled as the invoice number. And we find this in the correspondence from the middle of the 1830s from Montandon Frères, where they are certainly utilizing this method. And indeed, it will be noted that their serial number is sequential. So this is chronological. And therefore, we have a very good idea now if we look at, for example, the compiled list of Montandon Geneva pieces that I have compiled. And I can show you, I will put it up above. Now, we clearly see that these 3 boxes from 1864, we know nothing of the watches. They were probably gold. However, we do have these serial numbers, and we can place, and when we have the big data, which I have compiled in this list here, the catalog, we now have a reference point for the dating of these watches. And indeed, as you will notice, it generally is reflecting the really wide, a lot of times we're forced to guess 1860 to 1880 or 1850 to 1870, etc. This is a very precise mechanism now for the dating, and we can make conclusions about the watches on both sides of this. However, and this fits very nicely into the already supposed estimated dates. Now, obviously, when you have a watch, you can date a watch by the architecture of its construction, the technology, etc. In certain cases, we have historical information that will tell us when a watch appeared at a certain show or what have you. But this type of information is quite useful. Now, I have seen on a lot of these forums where watch experts are discussing Swiss watches, and there is a bit of a misunderstanding or super simplification. One individual was claiming that the serial number means absolutely nothing, and this is a big disservice for anyone who is a serious researcher in a brand. And his first claim was that there was no serial number in Swiss watches, and clearly, if anyone who has a little bit of knowledge about a watch, if you remove the dial, now in a Montandon watch, they're établisseurs, they are clearly putting the serial number on the back of the dial, and on the movement itself, we will find the serial number. Now, these usually are the same. This indicates that these were always married in the watch, that they haven't been replaced, etc. But this will also be, the serial number will also be, it'll be oftentimes on the other side of the movement, on the central bar, and it will also be on the case itself. And these will always be the same number. Now, if you have a subcontractor who's doing the case separately from the établisseur, then there can be two sets of numbers, or there can be the watch case maker's number. But generally, these are the same. And of course, in this period, we also have it in the box itself, so that when the customer would purchase this, we would have a wooden box, velvet lined, with the serial number, the maker name and serial number on there. So these are tricks that we use to get the information that we're looking for, to hone in on more precise dating. And it's entirely possible. I look at big data, and I have used this methodology to get as close as possible to dating. Now, when we have genealogical information on a particular watchmaker, then we can get within even several years, and so this is very helpful. But these are all information, and with regards to genealogical information, if somebody is researching a particular brand or maker, then it pays to study the genealogical information on a maker, or one can attempt to find more this way. One of the original customers of Montandon Frères Locle, of David Henry Montandon, was a jeweler in Bordeaux, and I was able to find specific references to his. Indeed, he was living at the watch shop, and I had the address of the watch shop from the diaries of David Henry Montandon, and everything came together with the genealogy. So it's quite interesting. They had also had him selling watches, and as a jeweler in Bordeaux, this individual, this Joseph Cazarin, who very clearly fell into place. But this is one trick that one can use also. Now, of course, a lot of these genealogical, if one using it online, these sites, they will charge, obviously. However, depending upon what your needs are, this may be something that's valuable, but it is yet another angle in our attempt for placing together the pieces of this puzzle, that this watch or whatever object we're studying, or a series of watches that took place several hundred years before our birth even. So, but this is just something I wanted to share. It's an interesting mechanism for getting to the root of the matter, and seriously researching and studying a brand. So I hope this was useful. I hope you find some use out of this, and I would like to have any feedback that might be, if you have any questions or pointers. Indeed, I'm learning all the time, so I would appreciate any kind of communication, but please contact me, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a very nice day. Bye-bye.